I'm Miss Lori, and welcome to Whippoorwill Holler Kitchen. Hey, you know when you got a bunch of chickens on the homestead, you're going to end up with a bunch of eggs. You know, there's so many different ways to cook eggs, but there's also a lot of different good recipes out there too. Now, using these eggs up is not only a good idea, but it's also frugal. Eggs are a very frugal meal. Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori, and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook, and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. So today what I want to do is I want to start doing a lot of egg recipes, because this time of year I'm getting a bunch of eggs. I know a lot of y'all are too. And I know some of y'all that don't have chickens, it's one of the most frugal meals that you can make. And I know years ago it was a big thing to tell everybody that eggs weren't good for you. But it's just my belief that eggs are good for you. And, you know, in moderation. And it's just a good, healthy meal. I mean, me, myself, I can cook me 2 eggs, maybe a piece of sausage, a couple pieces of bacon, and a biscuit or a piece of toast, and I can go just about all day till supper time. My grandma and grandpa ate eggs every day, some kind of a scrambled egg or an omelet or something, pretty much every day with homemade biscuit. And there's so many of our older folk that I know personally that'll tell you. And I can remember listening to a woman, she was over 100 years old, and somebody asked her, said, what is your gift? How did you know, you're so vibrant and so healthy? And she was like, I don't know, 101, 102, something like that. They said, well, how do you do it? You know, how did you do it all these years? And she said, well, every day I ate eggs, bacon, and she said, and sometime during the day I drank a Dr. Pepper. So I'm not saying that drinking a Dr. Pepper every day is good for you, but it's just funny sometimes when you hear these stories, especially about our older folk. And I am getting to be one of them older folk, and I do love eggs. I love a good fried egg sandwich. But let's get started with our recipes. You know, it wasn't, our hens stopped laying, and I may be totally wrong about this, but I'm thinking it was way before Christmas, and it took them, they went through a really big molt, and it just took them a while this year to start laying again. So we still have our older hens that I think they're 3 years old, maybe a little bit older. And then we just recently purchased some really pretty young chickens, and I'll show you them in just a little bit. And so we'll be getting some more brought up, because as your hens get older, they don't lay as much. But we will keep our older hens anyways. And I hope some of them start turning a little bit broody so we can raise our own chicks like we used to. But I've got abundance of eggs, and we try to give them away if somebody's wanting them. But a lot of people in our area already have chickens and have their own eggs. But I have a few recipes I want to share with you, and I think you're really going to like them. So let's get started and see what we can come up with cooking with eggs. Now, one of my favorite ways now to cook my eggs for egg salad, and that's going to be our first recipe, is your old-fashioned egg salad, the way Grandma used to make it. any more is in my Instant Pot. I just love it. I can put a dozen eggs in there, turn it on for just a few minutes. And mine, it takes, the way I like them, about 7 minutes. And they're out of there. I put them in cold water. And then I can put another dozen in there. And before you know it, I've got a couple dozen of eggs ready to make deviled eggs or egg salad or just anything like that. So our first recipe is going to be egg salad. That is one of the things I absolutely love to make when I'm getting fresh eggs, especially, is egg salad. I can remember having egg salad quite a bit because we didn't buy a lot of lunch meat or anything like that, but we always had chickens and always had a lot of eggs. So egg salad was a very cheap lunch. And my grandpa, you know, he had a big farm. He had a lot of cattle, but he still worked off the farm. He worked at the landfill in town, so he always took a lunch box. You remember them metal lunch boxes with the thing that they take their coffee in, their thermos. You remember them old things? I remember his. And Grandma always had, well, especially when it was cooler outside or wintertime, sometimes she'd make egg salad sandwiches for him. A lot of times he would just take maybe tuna salad or egg salad or chicken salad and take him some crackers. And sometimes she'd just make him a good old bologna sandwich to take with him. But when you're getting abundance of eggs, and of course we do give them away, we give them to the kids if they need them. Now there for a while we was, a couple years ago, we were selling eggs because we were getting so many, and we were selling them to help buy the feed for them, because we all know how high feed is for your chickens or anything. Very, very high. But we don't sell them anymore. We find somebody might need them, or I've been putting some in the freezer too. If y'all'd like to see how I put my eggs up in the freezer, just comment below and let me know. But I'm going to get the rest of my eggs peeled, and I've got some more in my Instant Pot, and they're going to be done. And then we'll be using them in another recipe too. Now I've got all my ingredients laid out here. Of course, we got our eggs. I've got a dozen eggs. I got some celery here that I'm going to chop up. Now this is Grandma's recipe, and she liked sweet relish, so that's what we're putting in here. We're going to put about a third of a cup, a fourth to a third of a cup of sweet relish. Now, if you just don't like sweet relish, of course you can use dill relish, of course. You make it to your taste. But I'm just going to chop up some celery. When I'm making any kind of salad, whether if it's egg salad, chicken salad, tuna salad, ham salad, I absolutely love to put celery in it. No, celery doesn't have a lot of taste, but it just gives it that crunch that I really love. So we've got about a third of a cup of celery. Now, I'm going to take my eggs. You can take your eggs, and if you like them really mashed up, take your potato masher and mash them up. But I like mine just kind of coarsely chopped up when I'm making egg salad. And you can see what the inside looks like. You can see that yolk. A pretty yellow yolk. I just like mine kind of coarsely chopped up. Nothing fancy. I just like to have a bite to it, you know. Now, Grandma always raised her, she had hens, and of course she raised her own eggs, and she even raised her own chickens to eat a lot of the times. And Danny's grandma Gladys did too. So of course it would be a frugal meal. I know a lot of y'all aren't able to have chicken, so you have to buy your eggs. And I hope that a lot of y'all are able to maybe find you a local farmer or a farmer's market or somewhere that you can buy fresh eggs. But if you don't, you just do the best you can. But even if you buy them from the store, it's still a very frugal meal. Now I know there's a lot of people that'll say that still say that eggs aren't good for you, and I will always defend that to the end. That there could be a lot worse things out there for you. I don't believe eggs is one of them. Now you don't need to eat a dozen eggs every day. That's not what I'm saying. But I know many a times when money got short and you couldn't buy meat and you just couldn't even go to the grocery store, you could go out and get you some eggs, and you could always eat. If it wasn't egg salad, it could be a fried egg sandwich, scrambled eggs, toast, poached eggs, omelets. Maybe you got a little bit of cheese in the refrigerator, maybe some cut up ham that was left over, or bacon or sausage, and you got maybe an onion out in the garden. A quiche. You can make you a crustless quiche, or you can make you a homemade pie crust and whip you up a quiche really fast. If you got several eggs, you got onions, you got salt and pepper, you got cheese, maybe you got some different kind of vegetables out of the garden, or some in your freezer, like zucchini or spinach or mushrooms, just stuff like that. And you can make a quiche, and a quiche is, you know, say a 8 to 9 inch quiche can feed, you know, at least 4 people. So that right there is just another frugal meal from your eggs. So I'm going to get these chopped up. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to go out to the garden here in a minute. And I'm going to have to get me a green onion, a couple of green onions, because I'm going to need them for these other recipes too. You know, there's a lot of times when I come in from work and, you know, if Danny's been busy or he just hasn't been home, and he comes in and maybe I didn't start anything for supper or didn't even lay nothing out, we can eat some scrambled eggs and toast, and it don't bother us a bit, y'all. In fact, we can have breakfast for supper, and we love it. That's Danny's absolute favorite meal is breakfast. And it doesn't matter if it's eggs or bacon, or he loves chocolate gravy and biscuits. So it's just anything that has to do with breakfast. So I got my dozen eggs chopped up. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I like to season my eggs before I put everything else in there. My celery's on the bottom. So I'm going to put a little bit of pepper. And I'm just going to take a little pinch of salt. I'm going to go ahead and put a third of a cup of sweet pickle relish. Now, sometimes if I've got some of my squash relish that I make in the summertime, and I've got a video doing that, I'll try to put it down there in my information box below. I'll find it and put it down there if I don't forget. I'll use that instead of pickle relish because it's good too. Right here I've got a fourth of a cup plus a tablespoon of mayonnaise. Now if you're not a mayonnaise eater but you like Miracle Whip, what they call salad dressing, go ahead and use that. Right here I've got a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, or you can just use regular yellow mustard. Now, my grandma put pimentos in everything. This is optional. You don't have to put that in here. But make sure you drain it good, and they're chopped up. This is about 4 ounces. I think I'm just going to put a couple ounces. She would have put this whole thing in there. So I'm going to go out to the garden and I'm going to get me some onions. So I went out and grabbed me some green onions, and I'm just going to use the green part of it. I'm just going to chop it up. You can put any kind of onion in here that you want. Put the amount that you want. Some people like to add seasonings to their egg salad, like garlic, onion powder, paprika. Now I don't mind putting a little bit of paprika in there, but I'm not going to today because I'm wanting to stick to more or less the way Grandma would have made it. Now a lot of times when I'm in a hurry and I'm making egg salad, it's pretty much got eggs, mayonnaise. I always have pickles in it. Maybe an onion, but there's sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I don't put all this stuff in it. It's pretty easy just to slap it together and slap it on some toast. So, got some green onions. And now I'm just going to stir this up. Now you can eat this on just a bed of lettuce. You can eat this on toast, a croissant, just a regular piece of homemade bread. You could eat it with crackers. You want it moist, but you don't want it just overly coated with mayonnaise. And if you want to add just, like I said, a little bit of paprika to it, you can. I'm going to add just a little bit more pepper. I like quite a bit of pepper in my egg, chicken salad, tuna salad. So there it is. That is Grandma's egg salad. So how would y'all eat it? Would you eat it on toast? Would you just eat it on a bed of lettuce? Or just a hunk of homemade bread? I think I'm going to toast me some bread. Okay, we're going to make us an egg salad sandwich. And there is our egg salad. It's got the pimentos in it that gives a little bit of red color. And your celery, your pickles, your onions. I can take egg salad and just eat crackers with it. It's really one of my favorite ways to eat it, especially if I take it to work for my lunch. I like to take crackers with it. So mound it up there. I got me some lettuce. If I had a good ripe tomato out of the garden, that'd be on there too. But I don't. Be a while before we have one of those. So we're going to taste our egg salad sandwich. There you go. Yep. It's never a disappointment, I can tell you. Grandma's egg salad. So if you want to know a good thing to do with your extra eggs or a good frugal meal, make you some egg salad. Now, we're going to go on to our next recipe. We're going to make some deviled eggs. But It's going to be just a little bit of different deviled eggs. I think y'all are going to like it. Okay, our next recipe is our deviled eggs. And we're just going to take this over the top just a little bit. Now, the one thing about this recipe is it's deviled eggs for 2. It's bacon and chive deviled eggs for 2. But, so I'm going to be using 4 eggs. But if you're wanting to make this for your family and you're feeding more than 2 people, just double or triple this recipe. I will have the recipe down in the description box below with all the other recipes. But since it's just me and Deanie, we didn't need that many because this is going to be, 4 halves for us to eat. So that's plenty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cutting my chives up. I went out to the garden and I gathered up some chives. If you've got green onions but you don't have any chives, that's fine. If you've got dehydrated chives, dried chives, that would be good too. This right here is just fresh out of the garden. It had some blooms on it and there were a few bees out there buzzing around the chive blooms. So we got some chives. We got some bacon here. And you just need enough bacon to probably about 1/4 of a cup, maybe, chopped up bacon. But you know me, I've always got to go over the top with it. I always cook just a little bit more bacon so that I can have a bite or two. Tastes pretty good on that egg salad sandwich, wouldn't it? Piece of bacon. So you just want to chop this bacon up just kind of fine, just kind of like your chives. You don't want big old chunks. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just chop all this up. I just never think that you can have too much bacon. What do y'all think? So that was 3 pieces of bacon, 3 rashers of bacon, as the old folks would say, 3 rashers. Okay. That's more than 3 tablespoons, but we're going to go with it. So we got our bacon and our chives. I've got about a tablespoon of sweet relish. You can use dill if you'd rather, have dill. I've got about 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and I've got about a 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, but you can use just plain mustard if you want to. So I'm just going to cut these eggs in half and put my yolks in here. I got bacon on the eggs. So not only is this a good recipe, but it's another cooking for 2 recipe. But you can make it for feeding several. You just have to double and triple it. This would be a good one to take to a potluck. You always have to have deviled eggs at a potluck, barbecue. And I guarantee you, once you get all this filling together, you could eat the filling by itself. It's so delicious. So there we go. Some of that, got a little bit of pieces of bacon on there, but that'll be okay. I'm just going to take my fork and mash my yolks up. Now, I'm not going to do nothing fancy with this. I'm not going to pipe it in my eggs. I ain't going to do that. I'm not that fancy, I guess. So I'm going to put my half a teaspoon of Dijon, 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, tablespoon of sweet relish. I think I made a bigger bowl. What do y'all think? I'm going to stir that up a little bit. Now I'm going to put a little bit of pepper. Put as much pepper and salt as you want to taste. Now some people like to really mash up their egg yolks. They like them real smooth. It don't make no difference to me, but you make it the way you like it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about half of this bacon and I'm going to put it in here with my egg yolks. And I'm going to take about a little bit of the chives. And I'm going to mix that up in there with that. Now anytime that we make our deviled eggs, and my oldest daughter Brittany always makes deviled eggs for any kind of get together that we do. She makes them really good and she likes to make them. You can put a little bit of paprika on top to pretty it up a little bit. Smoked paprika is really good. Okay, I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff that's in the way. We're going to take our filling, just put it right there in our eggs. And that bacon that's in there is going to give it that smoky flavor. Really and truly, this would probably feed 3 people. Just depends on how many deviled eggs you like to eat at a time. Now some of these eggs aren't real big. Some of my chickens lay bigger eggs than the others. So, now what we're going to do is we're just going to take some of this bacon and I'm going to sprinkle some on top. And this will be the way that you would serve it. With the crumbled bacon and the chives on top. And I've got enough left over for a couple more eggs. But like I said, just make as many as you think you might need for whoever you're feeding. And that turned out really pretty. I'm not wasting these, believe me. There's just a little bit of filling left in there that I will eat. So there it is. There is your bacon and chive deviled eggs. And to puree it up just a little bit, sprinkle you some paprika, or if you like stuff a little bit spicy, drizzle you some sriracha sauce on it or something like that. That would be good. So we're going to move on to our next recipe. Our next recipe is going to be baked French eggs. Okay, what we're going to be making now is baked French eggs, or it's French baked eggs. Baked French eggs is what it's called. I didn't want to get it backwards there. So we got a muffin tin here with 12, that makes 12 muffins. But we're going to be baking our eggs in it. Now you can spray these, but I'm going to take butter. That's what I'm going to take. And each one, you can spray it with I've got olive oil that sometimes I use, but I'm going to be using butter. I think butter give it a good taste. So I'm going to be doing 12. So what that means is I'll have leftovers, and these freeze really well. Now, another version of this is before you put your egg in here, you can put you some crumbled up ham in the bottom, crumbled up cooked sausage, a piece of Canadian bacon, something like that, if you wanted some meat to it. But we're not going to be doing that today. That's just a version that you can do if you got somebody that has to have meat. A carnivore for sure. And the good thing about these recipes, you know, the recipe that I give you, you can always switch it up and make it your own, to your liking, too. Add you some stuff or take away some stuff if you don't. Just make sure that you grease or butter it really good. Okay. Now all I'm going to do is take me some eggs. And these are very fresh eggs. And just put them in each muffin tin. I like to do it this way to make sure that I don't have a bad egg. Otherwise, I would just break them in there. These are some really pretty yolks that them hens are laying. We mix old sunflower seeds with our laying pellets. He also gives them a little bit of scratch. To warm our chickens, we give them, you can mix up a little bit, just a little bit of DE, which is diatomaceous earth, in with your feed, and that deworms your chickens, and you'll get cleaner eggs if they're dewormed. If you see a bunch of poop on your eggs, a lot of times that means that your hens are wormy. So we use diatomaceous earth to deworm our chickens. Maybe Mr. Brown will talk about that sometime. He takes good care of the chickens. And you know, I've talked to him about it before. You know, growing up on the farm, chickens were just chickens. They just fended for themselves. They weren't babied. They weren't putting, you know, kept up in special little hen houses. They were just in a rough old hen house. Usually in summertime you go out there, there'd be a big old black snake out there gobbling up eggs. So things have changed. That is for sure. I need one more. One more egg. Let me clean this mess up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take some heavy cream. And I'm just going to take Let's see, first I'm going to salt and pepper my egg. That's what I'm going to do. Back up. So put a little bit of pepper, however much you like. Danny always likes a lot of pepper on his eggs. Some salt. Now I'm going to take heavy cream and I'm going to take 2 teaspoons and just kind of drizzle it over each egg. Just like that. Now you could use half and half, but I just don't think it'll work as well with just milk. Your cream is where you're going to get that creaminess from your baked egg. Now I'm heating my oven to 425. And you'll stick your eggs in there. For a soft egg, you'll cook it 7 to 8 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. For a firmer egg, it'll be 9 to 10 minutes. And if you're like me and you like your eggs pretty firm in the middle, you'll go about 11 or 12. But you just keep an eye on it because everybody's oven's different. So that's 2 teaspoons of heavy cream. Now I've got some Parmesan cheese. And all I'm going to do is sprinkle a little bit over the top of each one. And like I said, these freeze really good. And if you had put maybe a piece of Canadian bacon on the bottom or some sausage or ham, that would just take it over the top a little bit. But this right here is just your regular baked French eggs. Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven and turn my timer on. I'm going to turn my timer on for probably 9 minutes, then I'm going to check it just to make sure that it's not overcooking it. Like I said, everybody's oven's different. It's at 420, 425. Turn my timer on. We'll be back. I'm going to get the eggs out of the oven and see if they're done enough for me. I think they are. It just depends on how you like your eggs. On how done you like them. If you like them really runny, or just, I like mine, just depends on what I'm eating. So, they're fresh out of the oven, they're still hot. You can see some of them got done, and then, you know, a lot more than the others. Like this one's still, see, this one looks just about right. And I think it's going to come out of there pretty easy, y'all. Maybe. I might need a bigger spoon. Let's see. Let's see what I can do here. We're just going to bring it over here on the plate. And there is your baked French eggs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut into it. Now this one's done the way I like it. But if you like it done you know, runny inside, and I'll show you a runny one here in just a minute, then that's the way you would take it out at, I think it's 7 to 8 minutes. Now you could make you a hollandaise sauce to put over this. A little bit of marinara sauce would be good. That is creamy and delicious. There's just enough Parmesan on there to taste it. I think you could put a little bit of garlic in there if you wanted to. But y'all, that's really good. Really, really good. I like the Parmesan in it. Tastes delicious. So what I'm going to do now, ooh, that was hot going down, y'all. I'm going to try to get this one out that's a little bit runnier. Maybe not. Just looks, no, it's cooked hard. So, if you don't want it hard, 7 to 8 minutes is plenty of time. But either way, it's delicious. If you left the middle where it was still kind of runny, you could dip bread in it. That's the way Mr. Brown would want it. But I can take these after I cool them off good, and I can wrap them up good and freeze them. That is delicious. That heavy cream just made that so creamy, y'all. Sprinkle you some chives over this. Taste this one. It's just as creamy. That white of that egg with that heavy cream, it looks so silky. That's probably one of the best cooked eggs as far as taste and creaminess. That is delicious. Okay, I've had my fill of eggs today. I'm going to let these cool down, and then we're going to start my grandma's pickled beet and eggs. And it's got onions in it too. You know what? I'm out of onions, so I may have to go out to the garden and I may have to pull me a leek. But this is a wonderful recipe. Okay, we're going to make our brine to go into our easy pickled eggs and beets. And what I've got here is a cup of vinegar. You can use any vinegar that you like the best. I'm using red wine vinegar because I like the taste of that when I'm pickling something. I don't always use it in everything, but for my pickled beets and eggs, that's what I like to use. But you can use regular vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar. Just any kind of vinegar that you like. So this is a cup of vinegar, 2 cups of sugar, 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of black pepper. And all I'm going to do is heat this up just to dissolve the sugar. And then I'm going to turn the stove off and I'm going to let it cool down. And then we'll pour it over into our jar with our beets and our eggs. Now this is not something that I would can. This is just something that you would make and put in the refrigerator, and it'll stay good up till 2 weeks. But I guarantee you probably have it 8 by then. So my sugar is pretty much almost dissolved. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my stove off. Okay, while my brine is cooling down a little bit. Now, generally I would use probably 1/2 of a red or purple onion is what some people call them. We call them purple onions. Some people call them red onions. I would slice it up in rings, and that's what I'd use. Now, I don't have any whole onions right now. My onions are in the garden growing, but I do have green onions and I do have leeks that I'm using right now. So I'm going to be using leeks in my recipe today. But you use any kind of onions that you either have or that you like the best. I'm going to just separate these just a little bit. And what you see back here is I've got some jars of pickled beets from the store. These are from the Amish, the Amish store, or you can get them at the Mennonite store. You can get these at the All American Made store in Pocahontas or around Springfield. They're Aunt Nellie's whole pickled beets. Now, I won't, usually I would use sliced beets, but what I'm wanting is about 30 ounces of sliced beets. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get what I've got. I've got a partial used jar here, and then I've got a new jar right here. The new jar is 16 ounces, so this is going to be probably about 8 ounces here. So we'll see how this works out. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my boiled eggs. Now it usually takes about 9 to 10 eggs. This I only had 7 boiled eggs left, so that's what I'm going to use. I didn't want to make any more eggs, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a couple of these out. Okay. I'm going to put some of these beets in here. Like I said, these are just store-bought beets. Now, if you've got some pickled beets that you've already put up maybe last year, use those. And if you don't like whole beets, use sliced beets. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of my onions, which are my leeks. Then I'm going to put some more. I wish I had a couple more eggs done, but I don't. 2 more would have been perfect. We're going to put some more beets in here. Pickled beets are so good for you. And I love roasted beets. Really good. Me and Mr. Brown eat quite a bit of pickled beets straight from the refrigerator with a lot of our meals. Get some more beets down in there. Now generally what I would do is I would let this sit at least a week before I would eat any. I'm going to put one more beet on top, and I think that's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of my leeks. This is so good. Just to take out of the refrigerator once it's marinated really good and your eggs have soaked in that that beet juice. It is so good. Just to put this whole jar on your table and just let people, get what they want. They get a pickled egg and a pickled beet and some pickled onions. It's delicious. Really great to put on a holiday table when you've got all different kinds of like ham and just different stuff. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the leftover juice. This is 8 ounces. Let's see. I don't want to smush my eggs, so I'm going to be careful about. I'm just wanting to get them down in there better. I'm really not going to need all this brine, but you know what? I can cool this off even more. And I can put it in a jar and put it in the refrigerator. I can put it in this jar right here after it's cool, put it in the refrigerator, and when I'm ready to make some more pickled eggs and beets, I've already got my brine ready. And of course I could use the rest of this too. But if you do this, you've always got some brine ready for your... But make sure this is cooled down. Okay, I just poured enough in there to cover the top good. Make sure them eggs and them beets are covered in that vinegar brine, that pickling brine. Just kind of poke it down in there. So what I'll do is I'll put the lid on this and I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator, and I'm just going to not even open it up for a week. Then after a week, when them eggs have really soaked in that beet juice, it's going to be delicious. So the rest of this will not go to waste. I'm going to put it in my jar and put it in the refrigerator to make more, maybe pickled onions or just anything like that, and my hands are messy. So I'm going to clean up my mess here. Put a lid on this, get it in the refrigerator. And I've got me a good jar of easy pickled eggs and beets and onions. Gonna be delicious. I hope that y'all liked these recipes, these egg recipes. You know, eggs, they are a frugal meal, but they're so versatile too. You know, there's just so many things you can do with eggs. And, you know, even if you've got your own hens and you're raising your own eggs, you can't say, well, I've got free eggs, because unless you don't feed them any feed at all, any lay pellets or any scratch, you just let them free range and don't feed them any feed, feeds is pretty high. But the fact is that you know what your chickens are eating, you know how fresh your eggs are, and they're just, nothing tastes any better than a fresh egg off the farm. So I hope y'all really enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, share the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We are getting so close, y'all, to 500,000 subscribers, and you just don't know how blessed we are. I mean, it's just unreal sometimes, and we're just getting closer and closer. And it's also getting closer and closer for me to retire and be able to put more videos out for y'all and Mr. Brown. If y'all would like for me to do some more egg recipes, I have a ton of them. Just let me know. I have a lot of main meals to make with eggs, and so just let me know in the comments if you'd like more of the egg recipes, because I would love to do them. We eat a lot of eggs. So cook you some eggs, pickle you some eggs, make you a baked French eggs, make you some bacon and chive deviled eggs, make you some good old egg salad. Can't get no better than that. So we'll see y'all in a few days. I'm not sure what I'll be doing. Mr. Brown's real busy right now. As soon as I get retired, I may unbusy him just a little bit where he can he can start cooking with me again. So anyways, God bless everybody. Y'all have a beautiful week, and we'll see y'all in a few days.